Life is a vapor. We're here today, and we're gone today. But after all of this, brothers and sisters, there is a solution. Say solution. I'm in verse 16, verse 15. Watch this. This is going to bless you. It's real good. For that ye ought to say, keyword ought, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. Now, you can better understand this if you compare it to verse 13. Because verse 13, the businessman has gotten all of his plans together, and he's off with his plan. When you get to verse 15, brothers and sisters, it's saying to us that we ought to say, if it's the Lord's will, we shall live and do this and do that. The businessman made all the plans without even consulting the Lord. What he should have been saying is, if it be the Lord's will. That's all I'm saying to you today. The solution, brothers and sisters, to this thing called life is to say to God, God, I'm consulting you first on my plans, and if it be your holy will, I will be whatever I am. I will do whatever I can do, but it won't be, brothers and sisters, unless it's according to your will. And so we should live and speak in the realization that our destinies are in his control and not in our own control. So despite popular opinion and despite what the poet says in Invictus, brothers and sisters, we are not the masters of our own fate. We are not the captains of our own sea. We belong to somebody who we were, I wish I had some help in here. We were purchased by the blood of the Lamb, and somebody owns us, so we cannot just do whatever we just want to do. We must consult God first. Tell somebody, you got to tell God. You got to tell God. You got to tell God, brothers and sisters. You got to tell God. We are not the masters of our own fate. We're not the captains of our own seas. We must consult God, and we have to say, if it be the Lord's will, I will do this. And you read Acts chapter 18 and verse 21. You read 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 19. The Apostle Paul solidifies this point by saying, if it's the Lord's will, I will do what I am supposed to do. Because we have to consider God in all of our plans. And so here's what you need to understand at the conclusion of this matter, brothers and sisters. Oftentimes, what we desire is much different from what God has already planned. See, you got to understand something. It's just like Jeremiah in the womb of his mama. God told Jeremiah, he says, now listen, before I formed thee in the belly of your mother, he says, I knew thee. In other words, that's predestination. I knew what you were going to be. I knew what you were going to do. I knew how you're going to act before you even came into this world. Do I have any help in here? And so, brothers and sisters, we need to understand the fact that God always has something different planned for us than what we have. See, what you want to do is you want to go straight to the mountaintop, but you don't want to go through any misery. You want to go straight through the prosperity, but you don't want to go through any pain. You want to go straight through the triumph, but you don't want to endure any tribulation. But God is saying, I may not want you to do that. I might want you to experience some pain before your prosperity. I might want you to experience some burden before your blessing. I may want you to experience some trouble before your triumph. I wish I had some help in here. Because God says, I've got this thing set up. And the way I got it set up is, I need you to learn some stuff before you get to your blessing. Because if you don't learn nothing before you get to your blessing, when you get to your blessing, you'll mess that thing up. But how many of us are grateful and thankful to the Lord that you learned your lesson before you got your blessing? Oh, that sounds real good to me. Tell your neighbor, tell them, I'm glad I learned my lesson before I received my blessing, because I'd have messed that thing up. See, the children of Israel, brothers and sisters, when they came out of Egypt land, they could have went a short route to get to Canaan. That was an alternative route. But God says, no, I don't want you to go through that route. He says, I want you to go. I want you to go the long way around. Do I have any help in here? Now, the long way around, they ran into the wilderness. why you want me to go through the wilderness? In the wilderness is where God gave them the law. And that's where they learn how to trust God and lean on God and depend on God, because in the wilderness, they had nobody else to depend on. Wish I had some help in here. Some of you are wondering why you had to go the long way around to get your blessing. You had the best laid plans. You had a 3-year plan laid out. You had it all mapped out, and God just got in there and just messed it all up. Because it says, your ways are not my ways, your thoughts are not my thoughts, and you can't handle what I'm trying to give you. And so I've got to let you go through something. I wish I had some help in here, so that you know how to handle it when you finally get to something. And so you had to go through that hell in order to get to where you're at now. And now you're over here shouting, and you're grateful and you're thankful to God because of the stuff you went through. That's why you're stronger. That's why you're wiser. That's why you're better. You got a better understanding. You can stand a lie. You can stand a rumor. I wish I had some help in here. All because of the stuff you already been through. Tell somebody, I'm glad I went through it. 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 Matter of fact, I had to go through it. I had to go through it to get this blessing I got now. So when people look at me and they say, look, you got it going on, they don't know your story. They ain't got a clue. They don't know the sleepless nights. They don't know the tears you had to cry. They don't know that they scandalized your name and tore down your reputation, messed up your character, and tore down your credibility. They don't know that your credit score was jacked up before you got the house. They don't know that you was driving a hoopty before you got the Lexus. They don't know, I wish I had some help in here, that you lived in a 1-bedroom apartment before you lived on Chenal Valley. They don't know that. So when they see you, they think you got it going on. But what you need to tell them is, if you don't know my story, you won't understand my glory. If you don't understand my past, you won't understand my praise. So when you see me shouting, don't laugh at me. When you see me waving my hands and giving God praise, don't call me crazy. I just been through a few things, and I want to tell God thank you for the ways you made for me. I want to tell him thank you for the doors you opened for me. I want to tell him thank you for making a way out of no way. I'm glad that I went through the mess, because it brought me to where I am now.